We're here.
Yep.
We're back from
Vacationings.
again.
Right.
Back from vacation again.
We're not doing any more of those for a while.
It's true. It's true. Unless it's like little things.
Yeah,
And
like
that's just sort of like.
once in a while, but that's yeah.
Well, no. I mean, even. We can. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just we can do things. I guess they're not called vacation. Anyways, sorry. I'm rambling. It's been a bit.
Mm-hmm. That's what we're doing today.
Vacation was good. We are talking about Rasha Sharav, of course, my character from your campaign.
Speak up.
My character from your... I'm right next to the microphone. Can you hear me? I hope so. I know I tend to talk quietly. I'm aware of this. But usually... I don't know. Anyways.
Projecting helps.
Yes. But I shouldn't have to yell.
You're not yelling, just projecting.
I shouldn't have to yell.
But you're not yelling if you speak up.
I am yelling. It feels like yelling. But yep, Rasha Sharav, my character from your D&D campaign that went on for 15 years, that I played in for 3. That's what we're talking about today.
Yeah. Yes.
So last time, we were on this quest, this dragon sort of quest to go and meet all of the firstborn dragons,
Tyrlan's quest.
Tyrlan's quest, because he's the reborn dragon of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dragon of time.
He was the eldest of them all.
And now he's the youngest.
Yeah.
And he
Poor
doesn't
little guy.
have his memories.
Not all.
Not all his memories, and because of that, it doesn't have all his power back, like the power that he had before. So we're going around trying to visit all of the firstborn dragons, and get a scale from them or something, from them, so that he can regain his memories.
Yep.
And his power. We have talked to, at this point, most of the friendly ones. Most. Right? And the last one that we went to was in Subura, in Shangara, here in Rumbala. And it was a highly traumatic experience. And some of us came close to being trapped in an illusion forever. They were not trapped there, thanks to my character, Rasha, actually, who used a really cool power that she gained from being a dragon champion herself, and saved them.
Aren't Destiny points fun?
Destiny points are wonderful. I really enjoy the way that you use them.
Thanks.
Or that they are even a thing in your game, I guess, at all. But yeah. But we did all manage to get out, surprisingly.
Just not without some scarring, you know.
Yeah, mental, physical, you know. Ragnar. It was in an illusion that Ragnar murdered.
Yeah, he was just killing, birds and squirrels and little lizards and stuff, actually.
Yeah.
Not people.
Thankfully. He went home after that because, it was a rough time.
Yeah.
And he wanted to rest for a bit.
Yeah, and kind of collect himself.
And, also check on his country, because he was the Jarl of Jarls.
Yeah. He's
up
the ruler.
In his country. He's the big ruler.
So he doesn't want to be gone for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been 2 weeks or more at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not quite.
So then the rest of us ended up... Or I think most of us, at least, ended up back in Milovich.
Yep.
Over here... I don't know if you can see the mouse on the screen or not. But in Talaron... Near Talaron. Yeah. Milovich right here in the middle. To kind of recoup. Hi, Dad.
Yeah, gather your wits about you again.
Yeah, and figure out, what exactly we were going to be doing next. So, Redding's elf bard cohort did not come with us to Subura, but I think he got back to us after that. While we were in Milovich, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because Duadna, one of the other characters,
my cousin's character,
player characters,
and playing from first level,
one of the OGs. He knew that our group was searching for the ancient dragons, so he contacted Galadglir because Duadna lives right by Redding, and that's where Galadglir would be.
Yeah, in Teleron.
In Teleron,
which is the capital of Nabia's.
Which is also close to Milovich, relatively, as you can see on the map here. And so he contacted Galadglir with an offer to introduce our group to Ilvania, the Dragon of Dreams, who's in the Feywild, which is somewhere that some of us had never heard of, and I think all of us would have absolutely no chance of reaching otherwise. No chance.
And Duadna had just recently met her.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, please. You know things.
That's all.
Yeah. In this world, in Jason's world of Naboria that he's created, they're not actively around the world Fey creatures at this time.
Not many.
Not many. It's some, very, very unlikely to see any sort of fairies.
Right. And
there, like that.
There was a reason for that, and
in
later
the
in his
storyline,
levels, my cousin figured out why that was the case, and then started doing something about it. And this was part of him doing something about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Duadna invites our group to come to Talaron, where he can take us into the Feywild. So, we met Duadna in Talaron in the Hidden Grove, presumably. That's usually where we meet him, right?
Yeah, that's generally. That's like his.
We have permission, obviously.
And the Temple of Tarlak floats above.
It is difficult to see on the map, but that is on purpose.
Yes.
If you see the Temple of Tarlak up here in the middle of the top of the map, over here to the left of, right to the left of it is the Hidden Grove, which Jason has put under a cloud on the map, and that was on purpose because it is the Hidden Grove. Right?
It's meant to be a secret place, so you can see it, you can kind of see what's there, but
Yeah. And that's
those are good shadows too.
Yes, they are good shadows. Yeah, because the Temple of Tarlak is literally a giant building floating above the palace.
A step pyramid that characters have done this too. We've kind of talked about it before. We actually discussed when it happened in your story. So
yes,
yeah. So that's there,
and
some of the dragons protect it, and Duadna protects it, and there's stuff going on there between it and the Grove, and it has to do with ley lines and magical powers that he's tapped into as a character, and has gone a very special direction for that. And so in his wanderings and searching for various points and ley lines within Naboria, he has stumbled across, for the first time, the Feywild, in going into the Forbidden Forest, and that's where he met Ilvania, and was kind of like, maybe. And he came back from there with something. Or no, that's not yet. Never mind.
Yeah,
you guys say it later. I'm sorry. You're right. I'm gonna shut up now. But he met Ilvania, and was like, well, these guys I know who are friends are out looking for the firstborn dragons, and she's really hard to find. You know what? I'll make an introduction, because he made an impression.
And it wouldn't have happened without him.
And he went with you on this trip, too.
He did.
Yeah.
So, we met Duadna in the Grove. It's Rasha, it's Tirlan, it's Anton, Milovich.
Galaglir.
Galadglir, of course. Jenya.
Oh, and Jenya. Yep.
Jenya was there. I don't remember who else was there.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think maybe that was it at that point. So.
Well, Tirlon, of course.
I said Tirlon.
Oh, okay, good. Yep. Never
the
mind.
dragon.
Yeah.
Time that we're helping.
Yep.
So Duadna told us about the fact that he had recently developed a good relationship with Ilvania during a battle against the Great Old Ones in the Feywild. I don't know exactly what that means. I don't think Rasha did either. But she was just kind of like, okay. So many things in the world to understand or not.
On Duadna's path, he was starting to become a god. He became a god-blooded human and had, when he went to the Feywild, well, he had undone something that had been done terribly in the past, which is part of the reason why many Fey weren't here in this world anymore. And it was all due to one of his ancestors. And so he kind of undid or started to work on undoing the damage that he had done, and took the aspect of the Earl King of the North, which meant that he could not leave the forests of the North. He couldn't leave Nabiaz physically himself any longer. So, what is the saying? Ultimate cosmic power, itty bitty living space, right?
It's still a pretty big space, the forest of the
North. It is, but yeah, he
can't leave it.
Compared to what he was doing, he had to make a choice when he was given this
he did. And
ability to do this awesome story thing.
And then he also,
at that
point, made a construct.
Yes, he did.
So that he was able to help if people needed help outside of the forests.
He made a simulacrum.
Which is him, but also
not him.
Also not, They call it the beast.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And Duana, of course, said he couldn't guarantee how Ilvania would react to Tirlon. He doesn't know. He had talked to her. She was willing to meet us, our group, but that we might not like what she was asking for in return. So he took us to the gate room in the Temple of Tarlak, which is that big floating up there. Did he do it the same way he did it last time? Because last time he turned us into birds.
Yeah, so
he turned us into
you all into
birds, and we all
and
flew up there.
And then you walk in there, and Arcady is
and
there.
Fly through the gate.
He had the gate already opened, and so you could just right through the gate.
Yep.
And on the other side of the gate, so the gate in the Temple of Tarlak is legitimately a gate. It is a permanent gate spell, which is a gateway to many worlds. And the Temple of Tarlak, as you might guess, Tarlak is that ancestor that he had to undo the terrible things of. For, like him, Tarlak was a druid-wizard combination, but was evil. And savagely terrifying and terrible. And in the long past history is why Nabiaz was taken over by Caranthus from Erwin the First, who was with Fafnir the dragon, and a whole bunch of stuff in history goes on, right? So he has worked through this, and other people have helped him work through this history. Now he's undoing the wrongs of the past in ways. Not because he's a good guy, right? Because it's an imbalance. He actually sees an imbalance.
He's not a good guy, he's a neutral guy, right?
Yeah, he's completely neutral. So he's attempting to reestablish that balance, realizing how imbalanced it has been for such a long time. So in doing so, there's a whole thing with the temple that goes back to the first characters, and they've figured out that that temple is one of the gates in the world, and yada, yada, yada. So they're able to, some characters, NPCs, and Duadna, are able to manipulate the gate to use it to travel to different places. But everyone knows, at least in this world and in the games that I run, the traveling to the plains is dangerous and not just a fun romp of silliness. No. No, the plains are dangerous. Don't go there. Only go there if you have to.
Yep. Our last trip to the plains was just...
Yeah, you guys ended up in a box.
Ridiculous and pointless and still dangerous.
Don't go to the plains for no reason.
But yeah, so once we were in the Feywild, we got to see Duadna's full, like his actual, what he looked like as an Earl King, which...
Man, he had like leafy wings and a stag horns, and his skin was more camouflaged. I mean, he
If you look up like Earl King, because that is like a fae creature from the legends, it's you will see things that resemble somewhat what he looked like.
he had a hand comprised solely of mist because long ago he had a cursed ring on, which was one of Tarlax's, and chewed it off to get the ring off, and then magically used some class features to create a false hand for himself of mist because he's also god-blooded.
That's
Most
hardcore.
people don't see that. Yeah, Duatna was hardcore. I mean, he ate the heart of his wife
What?
for his daughter to be. Or no, his daughter. He ripped the heart out of his, not wife really. Ripped the heart out of one of his lovers for his daughter to eat it to become Nikita fully.
Right. Sure. Yeah. That.
He's hardcore. So yeah, he's very like and bestial looking in ways, but very wise eyes. Yeah, that's Duatna. He's kind of mixed feral and fey and man, and you got him.
I like the leafy wing picture. That's a really cool mental image. I like that a lot. All right. Tell us about like traveling through the Feywilds. Like, what did that look like
So
to get to where we were going?
it's like traveling through a giant forest. There is no path, but Duatna knows the way, and he's where he was taking you is to the Earl King's city's kind of the wrong word. It's almost like tree
His spot.
fortification castle
His spot.
in the Feywild for the Forbidden Forest, which Ilvania is aligned with the Earl King of the Forbidden Forest. There are many different forests on Navias that are like specific. This is this territory. This is this territory. This is territory, and there are Earl Kings for each one. Though their power is greatly diminished by things people have done over the years, not just Tarlac, but other beings in history and everything. So there really aren't a lot of Fae except for in like literally a couple of places on the planet.
And in the Feywild.
Yeah, the Feywild, of course, like they're everywhere.
Obviously.
And the Feywild is like a naturalistic, overgrown, wilder version of reality. But where there would be a city doesn't exist, right? Like those things don't exist. It's all just wilderness as far as the eyes can see. And the colors are vibrant and strange, and some of the plants are like megafauna. Megaflora, because megafauna would be animals, but those exist there too.
Mm-hmm.
But more than likely, though, there are small fey creatures, not necessarily everywhere. They generally hide from beings that come through. However, in this case, like you guys got to see a few more of them because
We got to see especially once we got to the sort of a court-ish
yeah, it's like a
forest court.
there's a clearing. So they come out of the forest near a river, and the clearing opens up, and on the other side of the clearing is this like tree castle. It's not shaped like a castle. It's like some trees are larger and the trunks are thicker, and there are hollowed out areas, and then there's a wooded gate of branches that are barred, and there are like dryad guards, and then you see other fae tending little pieces outside of it, like the bushes and gardens, and it's a very beautiful, mystical, magical, Disney-looking place. That during the day looks all nice, and during the night it gets a little spookier, because the other fae come out. But going inside, there were fae everywhere. The doors were open when they came. Ivania was expecting them. As they walk in, it's basically you walk in the fortification, and on the other side of the fortification is
More nature.
yes, but like surrounded by this wood, as
It's
if
like
it were
tree
almost
fortification. Yeah.
right. And there are different places, like little mushroom houses and different trees and bushes that various fae live in, and there are gnomes, and like Duatna just was like a gnome because my cousin loves gnomes, and I knew this. And they're Sylvan, and they have a fae ancestry also, as do the elves, but that's for another time. So which actually it's why the elves guard the Forbidden Forest from
This
telling me
is
this is right next
this
to it.
is an extraordinarily amount of creatures that Rasha has never seen or even heard of before.
I think pretty much Duwadna is the only one of any of you
Yeah.
who had ever seen this many Fae in one place at one
Like
time.
a gnome? What's a gnome? What's a little sprite? What a fairy? What?
Previously, like the other party had met a nymph, because there was a nymph's grove in Navias.
Ooh.
But they weren't like a ton of them. There were like a nymph and a few small the fairy folk, and that's about it. Here, though, it was as if a whole court of Fae existed, and with the characters not really knowing what they were doing other than Duwadna, they approach and the Earl King speaks, and Duwadna lets them know why they're here, and at that, Ilvania appears like a Cheshire cat style, coiled around the king's oaken chair, and the king just bows to Duwadna, who was another Earl King. They know each other. They have recently fought at each other's side.
King recognizes king.
Against the great old ones.
Marrow's GF.
Oh, yeah,
Do you
yeah.
understand that
Yeah,
reference?
yeah. Moro's, yeah. Moro was, they were a thing for a while.
Who was the thing?
Rowan's character, Moro, his monk, he was the only one at that point
He
in
was
time
the thing
that...
with who?
The nymph in the nymph's
Oh,
grove.
the nymph, okay.
Navias. He's the one that made the will save, so, like, he talked with her diplomacy to let his friends go, and, like, she's like, well, someone needs to stay because I need a man, because it's a nymph. And so he's like, I'll do it. And that's that story. They were like level 5 or something, or 4 or 5 or something like that. It was fun.
So long ago.
Yeah. So so they're here, and King recognizes King again. They've combated together. They are allies, which is again so the characters you guys now get to see sort of some of the things that Duwadna has been up to. That he has been busy, and we see.
It's a whole lot of just wow.
And the king leaves. Ilvania appears, and they begin speaking with her. Mm-hmm. But during this period of time, while they were talking, you guys were invited to a feast.
I think we talked first.
Yeah.
All the talking, and everything was done.
First.
No, that was after.
Okay.
It was after.
I believe.
The business was done first, out of the way first.
Oh, that's right. You're totally
right.
You're right, because it is.
Come on.
Yeah, because she's
business
basically
before pleasure.
Dragon of Dreams. Right. That's right. Well, with Anton there, which was part of the setup for Ivania, and Galaglir, which for reasons that remain unseen at the moment, Ivania greets the party. Greets her brother. What do you guys tell her why?
Some words they tell her why they're there, what they want from her. A scale to regain Tirlon's memories, to get his power back, things like that.
And she's smiling most of the time, because she kind of already expects this. She says that she would agree to give Tirlon his memories back for a price. Anton Milovich must pledge a blood oath of fealty and family to Ilvania.
And this is not for Anton. This is for Milovich.
A blood oath of fealty and family.
The family, the city, that whole thing. This is a big deal.
Yes.
Because because of their connection to the Dragon Isles, they were connected to Tirlon.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then where they live now, which is the north, there is currently no Dragon of the North. He is gone.
It was Fafnir a long time ago.
Fafnir was gone.
And Duwadna currently has the only scale. Of Fafnir.
Mm-hmm. So, Anton went through a lot of personal mental things that I don't specifically know what they were. and came to the decision to pledge those oaths to her. It is something he had to do entirely on his own. Tirlon did not speak up at all during this. He didn't do anything to sway his opinion or decision or anything like that.
He just said, "You must decide."
Because it's a big deal. It's a big deal for Anton personally, for his family, for his city, everything.
For his history.
For his history.
For his future.
It's a big deal. But
for his family's future.
Yeah. He did make that decision.
And so he swore the oath. And once he agreed, Small Fae came out and gave him they had a stone or scroll or something for him to read off of.
Yeah, I'll read his part.
Right. The oath of fealty from Anton goes as follows.
I swear fealty to you, Ilvania. Your command and request is my desire. May my service always please, and may my ancestors forsake me if it does not. As the breath of life, my will to yours.
And then the oath of family was presented to him.
As a spark to flame, as the sea to a river, as a tree to the seed, as a mountain to the stone, so do I now recognize you to me. From this day forward, I am of your blood, my family and my hold, my house is yours. I seek your wisdom, love, and regard, for you will carry my name and memory when my line is no more. Should I abandon you, I abandon myself, I abandon my heritage. It fills my heart to call you my ancestor.
And then Ilvania responds to Anton with, as a spark to flame, as the sea to a river, as a tree to the seed, as a mountain to the stone, so do I now recognize you in myself. From this day forward, you, your family, and your ancestry are my blood. I swear to offer my respect, devotion, and love, for you offer me your lineage. Should I abandon you, I consign myself to loneliness. It fills my heart to love your family. There's a...
So our...
those with magical senses... Sorry.
I'm just going to read this.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Not a real account, which is our friend, the player of Anton, says... Before he decided, it says Anton was mostly swearing and going back and forth whether he would or wouldn't. Also, hi, Talia.
So those folks with magical sight, which were like only a couple people here, were able to see some sort of energy transfer between this, between Tirlon, Anton, and Ilvania, and notice something change in Duodna as well. After swearing the oaths, Anton and his line were now pledged to Ilvania, so the house Milovich was no longer a house under Tirlon, and though Tirlon isn't necessarily diminished in power, he is still diminished.
And this is the point where they have a party, and then they're like, "All right, well now we're gonna have a party, and
we shall celebrate
and join us." So Rasha is a bit wary of the situation simply because these creatures are unlike anything she's ever seen before, and while not necessarily seeming threatening, they just don't... They are otherworldly. They are strange. So she says to Duodna, she says, "Is this safe to eat and drink this?" And he's like, "I have some stuff. I brought some stuff." So Rasha eats that. Jenya does his communing with nature thing and takes in all of the insane energies of this place.
He starts tripping balls.
Yeah, he's sitting there like, whoa. Anton has some kind of helm thing that helps him to not be affected by the wiles.
Of many of the many of the Fae.
So he kind of gets busy with some Fae. Rasha performs a dance.
It's a Gallagher's song.
It's a Gallagher's song, and he's a wonderful bard, and she is a wonderful dancer, and it's much appreciated. But she mostly kind of keeps back from a lot of direct interactions with the Fae because they are very unlike anything she's ever seen before, and she's seen a lot by this point.
Yes. And Duadna is interacting with them like it's nothing because essentially he is a
of
Fae,
them
in a way now. As well, as a gift and to kind of keep them safe while being here, Duadna gifts or blesses Anton and Rasha, which makes it more difficult for them to be affected by things.
I forgot about that. I think we all forgot about it because I don't remember ever adding that into anything ever.
I
but it's fine.
Yeah, right.
It's fine. It doesn't. There wasn't any point where I failed anything or anything, so it was fine.
So once the celebrations are over, which didn't go for very long, it went a little bit into the afternoon, not necessarily into the evening, I believe, because you guys didn't stay that long here.
Sure.
Ilvania presents 3 different items to the party. It says it as a show of good faith, and that you are my blood. The group of you may choose one of these items to return to reality.
It is not something that you are to take for yourselves.
Correct.
It is something that you are to take and return to its rightful place.
Mm-hmm.
There were 3 items. Several of us in the party had no opinion, really.
Right. All 3 of them were some sort of
thing that goes on your head.
Headgear. Either a crown, a diadem, or a helm. Something that conferred leadership.
There was the Helm of Governance, the Diadem of Nod, and the Elven Crown. Now that is the point where Galadglir, the elf, is just like,
this has been lost for ages. Where did this go? What happened? It's here? So they choose to return the Elven Crown
back to reality.
Out of the 3 items.
There was gravity.
Yep.
Sorry.
And as it was Galadglir who truly chose this, he is the one who'd been tasked to return it to Talaminus.
And tell the story.
And yes, and tell the story of those involved.
It's funny. I don't ever remember you saying that we forgot this.
Yeah. Well,
so
because I think you guys you guys made the will
remember.
save. That's why. See,
Oh,
there's a
did
will
we?
save.
Okay.
Yeah. So much like, and see, Anton is immune to this. Cause
well, I know Anton's
yeah,
immune. He's got the head thing. And,
so when they leave, Duana says, "It's time to go home, my friends." And he leads them out. A gnome decides to go with him, as do a few other little fae. And he takes the group and the gnome and a couple of the fae back to their hidden grove, back to the gate where it's open because he can communicate with Arcady and the gate can open where they wish. Puts it in the same spot though. He's not trying to be rude to his other Earl King friend. And they come back out in Talaron. Which from there Galadglir knows that he's got a he's like I have a quest.
I have to do this now.
I have to do this. And so he leaves the Dragon Quest and goes on his own thing, which is a story I actually run where none of the main characters are actually main NPCs.
It was a lot of fun though. I got to play one of the NPCs and it was a really good time.
But it was I think it was a good story, and we will tell that story. We will tell that story in the future.
However, part of it starts here already.
Yes.
Because it is at this point when I think, are we contacted by the professor?
Mm-hmm.
We had talked to the professor a bit before, and he comes here to Talaron, and we meet him at a particular tavern. You
That wasn't in Teleron. That was in Merrigan.
Oh, right, American. I forgot. Is that in here?
Yeah, it is. But hold on a second.
He tells us all this information after he meets us, so
Right.
that's why I was gonna. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, wait.
It's in
I
Nabius.
forgot to open this at all.
That's okay. That's a Forbidden Forest. Here, I'll do it if you want to keep going.
That's the Forbidden Forest.
I'll get that part if you want to tell them. So how did you guys go from Teleron to Merrigan?
I don't know. I'm assuming we had teleported. We.
Probably with Anton.
Yeah. With Anton. We received some, like, ascending or something, I think. I don't remember exactly, that's why I'm kind of...
That sounds about right.
The professor, who had previously offered to look for information for us on some of the dragons that we had not yet met or found. And he says he has information for us. I am not certain why we meet him in Merrigan. Is that where he was, or we just did meet him there for some reason?
No, you guys were there for something else, because after
Why were
Teleron...
we in Merrigan?
Well, you traveled around for a minute. You, like, kind of... I know after Teleron, Anton wanted to go back to Milovich and let Cyril know and his family know, so
yeah,
you guys went
I forgot
there.
about that. We did have to go
Right.
and tell all of the people there that, which was kind of a big deal.
And Jenny and Rasha and Anton went to do that.
Yeah, no. Why
yes.
did we go to Merrigan?
He was in Merrigan. I know why he was in Merrigan.
Ah, okay.
The professor was in the Merrigan hunting down... Was in Merrigan hunting down...
The Watcher.
The Watcher.
Ah.
Who was a being that helped... There was like...
Had stolen from him.
Yeah. There was a heist somebody broke into a place they shouldn't be able to break into and stole a bunch of his stuff, and he was still tracking down the stuff and the people.
Quite a while ago.
So he tracked down one of the people to Merrigan.
But
and
didn't know exactly
where. So he was there and said, "Hey, I'm here. If you guys want to meet me here, that'd be great." And Anton was like, "Yeah, sure. I think we can do that." Or
yeah, pretty much.
I believe it was actually Argoth's simulacra that got the sending and came and talked with you guys in Milovich.
Yes,
and Anton was like, yes, we can go there, because when people have teleport, it's easier to get around places.
Very much so.
And so you guys met him in Merrigan at Four Bards. It's a little bar. It's
up at the top of the map.
Up here, way up here.
Yep.
Up in Northton.
So.
Nofton.
We go to meet him there, and he tells us about some information that he has. Which is that he's found information on Cilia. Who is the dragon of what? Remind me.
Like the dragon of winter, the dragon of frost, the dragon of ice specifically.
Thank you. The dragon of ice. She's a three-headed white dragon and very powerful. Not as crazy as Sabura, but not the most sane either. But he had found Celia's lair, which was in the frozen wastes of the southern Arctic. There's a mountain of ice in the middle of the continent. We'd be able to teleport to the continent, but we didn't know exactly where... He didn't know exactly where, like, the mountain was, so we would have to travel in this, below freezing temperatures.
Now, when you guys first met him there, he was playing music, and he was telling this tale.
He did that after we talked, because I listened to the information, and then is when...
Okay.
Yeah. He told us all the information before he played.
He's like, I gotta play a song now.
Yeah. We would gonna need, like, winter gear, and probably also endure elements, spell, things like that.
So it's basically the
Rasha,
South Pole they're going to.
has a special thing that she is always under the effects of an endure element spell. Essentially, um, she's I forget what it's like, child of the desert or something, because the desert gets real hot and real cold, and so it's a special effect she has. But she also, I mean, later went and bought some winter gear, because
It is especially cold.
it's especially
Enduro
cold.
elements isn't enough. You need both. It gets really cold down there. He also knows the layout of the lair, only its placement, and suggests arriving within a short walking distance to reduce exposure
It wasn't
to the
that
elements.
short.
Well,
But, Anyways. So, after he has given us all this information, he's like, oh, he's a bard. He's a very good bard, right? He's the head of the Bards College.
Yeah.
In
Illinois.
In Illinois.
He's the dean.
What's his name again? It's something weird.
Jack Rothbach.
Jack Rothbach.
Professor Jack Rothbach.
Yep. Jack. I never called him that. I never called him Jack. I only just now. He's like, I'm gonna play a song, for the tavern. So he starts playing the song, and he is very good, and he puts a special effects on it. And it is a song
Calumny.
that talks of this being called the Watcher, and how they are dangerous, and
some of the terrible things they've done.
Which is true throughout history, which is a very big deal. These are true things that happen.
There are some things he doesn't know he doesn't know why they're true, right? But it's actually true. The
fact that this being has done things over many, many years,
yes,
like longer than
like lifetimes.
Many lifetimes.
So there's something weird about them, and so he's sort of like warning the town about this creature and this being and trying to find them. And it was at that point in time that someone gets up and walks out of the bar. I'm like, I've had enough of this crap.
Oh no, I did things wrong.
What?
I didn't read this.
What?
This happens after Cilia.
What does?
What we are talking about right now, I just realized it. I didn't read this. It's after Cilia. This, and then...
Oh, yeah, that's right.
My bad.
So he probably just shows up in America. Let's,
He probably came...
Go back a little bit.
He probably just came to Milovich. Anyways,
yeah, he probably
the professor told us all these things about Cilia.
He did come to Milovich.
And we're in Milovich.
We're sorry, people.
I need to read the entire thing beforehand. Oops. So we have the professor. We have his cohort, Tak, who is...
A tiefling.
That's what he looks like. And he's got one...
Bejeweled horn. Well, it's not bejeweled yet. He's got one horn.
He has one horn.
A big-ass sword.
And it's Rasha, and it's Jenya, and it's Anton.
Uh-huh.
Is Ragnar with him?
Yeah, Ragnar came with you the first time, I think. No, maybe
not. No, Ragnar was not.
He didn't the first time. That's right.
He didn't come with us, Cecilia.
And the professor.
The professor. And so we buy... And Tirlon, of course. We buy winter gear. People use endure elements as needed and teleport there. We have to walk quite a bit.
A few days.
Yeah. The professor doesn't say that he is using Find the Path spell, but he's just like, oh, this way. Rasha's just, okay. I don't know. If you had magic detecting things, you would be able to tell, but I don't think anyone really cared all that much. I don't know why he was trying to hide the fact that he was... This is an out-of-character thing, I know, that he was trying to be sneaky about the fact that he was using this spell. I don't know why.
Not magic at all.
But he's a bard. They have magic of sorts.
Yeah, but he doesn't necessarily want to broadcast what he can do to people. Right. There are reasons.
He's a sneaky, creepy little
It's because
dude.
He was a spy.
Sneaky. But we get to Celia's lair, and the Find the Path takes him actually to this little back crevice hole thing. And what, we start sneaking in, but then get discovered and Celia is
So-
sane enough to talk.
By sneaking in, they have to sneak like through a back cave that is barely big enough for most of them to
And
fit
then
in,
down
and then down and come out.
a wall.
There's this giant interior ice cave that they come out behind this, at the very far back, in a little hole that's, like, I don't know, what is it, like 50 feet up from the floor, which is covered in treasure and stuff. And in there's a dragon, and it's Cilia. And yes, they get discovered trying to sneak around in there. Not you, just someone doesn't roll very well trying to sneak
Not
around on
me.
the coins. Now you do
It
just
would never
fine.
be me.
The professor does just fine. I think it was Jenya, because Anton could fly, and Tirlon could fly and be invisible.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure it was Jenya who got discovered,
So,
because he rolled crappy and she rolled really well.
people, they start talking and are doing some really good rolls, diplomacy-wise, because they have really...
Because they're all trying not to die right now.
Right. We start talking to her.
Celia's not terribly bright.
Right, but she doesn't immediately, like, kill us. She is talking, we make good diplomacy rolls, but this is in rounds.
She's basically like, give me something of value to not kill you,
Alright.
and you will be my
Jenya
thralls.
does the stupid thing, why he thinks this is important,
I
of
know why I thought it was good.
giving her the, like, chunk of flesh and scale from Sabura, and she just eats it. She's like, what's that? That's nothing.
Pointless.
Thankfully,
Says one head.
Ragnar had the tooth from Sabura because,
He wanted to use it as a trophy.
yeah. Anyways.
The professor offers up his amulet,
Something
which is magical.
pointless. They all are offering, like, really small things. And
Yeah,
I am sitting there in and out of character. Being like, I know what she's saying. She
Yeah,
wants
they-
something that's actually worth
Oh,
something. She
they
wants an
actually know.
artifact.
They actually know too. They're just trying to
And I'm
swindle
like-
a dragon that's going to kill them in 3 seconds. Not a
Yeah.
very good idea, guys. Bad idea.
So, Rasha, who has been hidden up to this point.
Yep.
She is very good at being sneaky. Reveals herself and says, what about an amulet from the horde of Azita Haka?
All 3 heads, eyes light up. It's like, what did you say? Like, going off like, yeah, give it up.
Because
Forget my
those
brother.
two,
He's a jerk. They don't like each other.
yeah, the like very fiery good dragon and the very evil like icy dragon. Oh, they don't like each other. I'm so surprised.
They always fought as kids.
Yeah, Rasha knew. Then Jenya talks and says something really dumb. And mentions Tirlon
Yeah.
and the fact that they want a scale for Tirlon. And we're all connected mentally at this point because of someone's spell, and Tyrion's like, no! And casts some really powerful spell and rewinds time.
Yeah. Just by
Before,
moments.
yes, but so it was before Rasha had offered up the amulet.
Which expends a
Oh, also, like,
lot.
I spent destiny points also for her to not, like, immediately just kill me,
Yeah.
too.
But it expends a lot of Tirlon's power.
And he's like, do not mention me at all. Are you kidding? You absolute idiots. He didn't say that, but
Well,
I was
yeah.
thinking it. He didn't have time to say that, but... So, instead, I offer that up, and then the professor... Thank goodness for the professor, who is stacked out the wazoo with diplomacy
And bluff,
and bluff,
which is what
and
he
rolls absolutely extraordinarily high.
a 72 to be exact.
72, and just starts laying it on thick, flattering her to heck, saying that we are going to start like a religion worshipping her, and that we would love for, a scale of hers and to make, a great and evil, and she's like, oh yes, make a
great
great and evil artifact out of it,
him, blah blah blah.
and,
Right.
and he just lays it on thick, and the rest of us are just kind of sitting there like,
Yeah, because some of you also can't lie, like Anton.
Anton couldn't lie,
can't
so
lie, but he
we're
also
like,
didn't
don't
open his
talk.
mouth.
Yes, he didn't open his mouth. Like, oh my gosh. So she gives us the scale. We are about ready to leave. We're heading back up to all teleport out, and I had given her. And this is the thing. Rasha had given the amulet of Bahamut,
which
to
legit is an amulet
Celia.
of faith artifact.
Nazita Haka had specifically said to not let anything evil come of it.
Yeah.
Not that Celia was gonna do anything. She was just gonna keep it. But still, this was something that Rasha was gonna have to worry about later. So they all get together to teleport out. And Tack, right before they all teleport out, starts scooping up treasures, just like whoop. Celia hears that, and she's like, "What?" But then we're all gone.
He stole 50k in gems and an artifact. We didn't know it was an artifact. He just, that looks neat. I'll take these things. Bye. And she's raw, and they're gone. So the. Yeah.
Yep.
So not necessarily that all that work was for nothing, just that the jig was up. If they ever went back there, it's a bad time. And she knows she has to go back there.
Yeah. So, the professor had also given us information about another dragon, Morjagal, who was asleep. I'll talk more about that later. But this is when we went to Merrigan, which was to get Alexander, because Alexander was in Merrigan.
Yep. Because he actually runs 4 bards. That's why.
He runs the 4 bards. And this is where the professor sings the song about the Watcher.
And
Which, it's to give you a bad opinion about the Watcher, and Rasha was affected by that. I didn't make the save.
Right.
However, I was the only one. We rolled a spot check or something.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only one that rolled high enough to see someone not that long after the song started leave the bar.
This is my cue to leave.
And Rasha, just being how Rasha is, she is chaotic good, is she goes, "I'll be right back, guys," and just leaves. To follow this individual. So, the Watcher is a very similar build. This character was kind of a similar build to Rasha. Also, good at sneaking and going.
Actually,
really
almost
good.
better at sneaking.
She's
but you're
I'm only better because I'm a higher level.
right. But your ability
If
to
we were same
notice
level,
is
yeah.
because you're a scout.
Yeah, I'm a scout. Yeah. So, I was able to follow her. If you see on the map here, Mary, we were at the 4 bards. I don't know if you can see that, but it's up at the top of the middle, all the way down through the city, through this wooded area, which is down to, if you see this Starlight Village, if you can see it over here, kind of
Just below the E, there's
Just
a little
below
place
the
called
E.
Starlight Village.
Starlight Village.
And it is a night elf village in Merrigan, which is surrounded by forest and mist.
Mhm.
And
It's a lovely little
the
place.
Grove of Mists, which is what E is.
But I followed her all the way back without her getting away from me and without her noticing me. Oh, this isn't her. I guess we didn't say that before. And as she is at her door, I was about to go in, Rasha's like, "Hey!" Reveals herself.
WTF.
She's like, "What?" And they start talking a little bit.
At sword point for a minute, and then that she
And Rasha's just like, "I don't know. I thought it was interesting." She's like, "I don't know. Who about you? How did we get to the? What did I say?
you said
No,
something
before we
about-
started talking. No, that once we got more familiar. Why did she want to make me more familiar? She did a diplomacy roll
Mhm.
to make me friendly towards her.
Mhm.
But that was before I said the thing about. Were we talking about before that? Anyway, she did, but she
random stuff.
she's like, "Okay, well."
Probably about why he said this. There's hey, this thing's true.
And I was like, I mean, I don't know. Like, he seemed pretty convincing, and
Well, she said, well, some of it is true.
yeah. But then, she does a good enough diplomacy roll to make me friendly towards her. She's like, hey, let's talk. And I don't know. I think I said, I was like, oh, well, I was like, why did I start talking? I was just telling her all kinds of things.
Yeah, because she was telling you things.
She was
like,
telling me
you guys
some
actually,
things. Yeah,
she never let go of her sword.
Yeah, but she kind of had it. She was down, right? And then Rasha's talking. She's like, oh, well, I know some things about. I don't even remember when I said something and why I started talking about it. And I was like, yeah, and traveling something dragons, and we met this dragon of dreams. I was like, oh, and there's an elf with us, Galaglear. Oh yeah, I was like, oh yeah, and we brought back the elven crown.
Say what again?
The elven crown. Like I guess it's been like missing forever. But we brought it back from
Where's
like
the
Feywilds. Well, I don't know exactly, but my friends can figure it out.
Can you? Okay, get me to him.
And Rasha's just like, oh, okay. So they head back to the four bars.
And she also knows why the professor's there because she was part of it. She's like, all right, I gotta talk to this guy, I guess, and goes back with you. Yeah.
So we walk back in. I sit down at the table with my friends, including the professor. I'm like, hey guys, and the Watcher sits down next to me. And the professor's like, Rasha,
listen, I know.
Rasha, and I'm like, she seems cool to me.
She's like, okay.
She's like, I'll talk to you later. The Watcher.
Yeah.
The professor.
He's basically like, you owe me, and she goes.
She's like, I know. Later.
Promise we'll deal with this later.
I will come back and talk to you.
But I have to get to.
And I was like, Anton. I was like, she wants to find Galaglear because she wants to help with the elven crown. Can you help her do that?
Anton's like,
Anton message. Yeah. Okay. No, well, he messages. He's got to figure out what he messages Galaglear.
And then where are you?
Hey, where are you? Here. And at this point, like, they had brought out like really strong alcohol. And the Watcher like
just downs it.
And Rasha's like, here.
Because she doesn't want to have to deal with these people or anything, but she has to go where she's going, and she really doesn't want to have to deal with the professor.
But it's very strong, and she immediately gets like really drunk, and Rasha's like,
that's far more important.
Rasha's like, that's not a good idea, and like slips her a potion of cure toxin. I was like, this is good. And then she looks at Rasha just like,
okay, fine.
And Anton's like, oh yeah, I know where Galaglear is. I can send you this. She's like, now, please.
But she was in Dweirden at this time.
Yeah. And
okay.
And Rasha's like, yeah, it seems cool. And he sends her.
And so the professor's like, okay, well, she said she'll come back, so we'll meet again.
And Rasha's like, okay, so we got Alexander. Are we gonna get together and head to Mordigal?
Yeah, and like after this, the professor's
and Rasha just like, the professor just kind of like,
I'll meet her in, because they agreed to meet in Illinois once what she was going to do is done.
And the professor's just like looking at Rasha, just like,
how did you do that? And nobody noticed you doing it.
Rasha's just like, do.
Yeah. So things are starting to come together for many people's stories, and you guys are about ready to go off to Mordigal, who is in Surtur.
And
that's a good place.
Yes. Yeah. We go and talk to Ragnar, but that's before we go to Mordigal.
To who?
Ragnar, and we get him with us.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah. Fun times.
You guys, contact Ragnar. He's really mad about.
He's very mad about what Jinya did.
And that he has to
with
give
good
up.
reason.
Yeah.
And he has to give up his trophy.
Right.
But he does agree to give it up.
Yep. And agrees to go with you guys to Mordigal.
To Mordigal. Which is a dragon that's somewhere sleeping. In a volcano, and that's what we know.
In Surtur.
In Surtur, which is
guarded by Orc.
And Rasha's like
waiting for him to awaken. Because then their goblin king will ride him and bring glorious battle to the world, and they will conquer all. So they're this like dragon cult worshipping orc group that they gotta figure some things out. But that's stuff for next time.
But yeah. Good times. No, there's lots of fun stuff. Are we gonna tell the story of the Elven Crown?
Yeah, but when we can do it like
later,
right,
much later, or
whatever makes
I don't
sense.
know. I think it might be fun to do that next. Maybe we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Well, maybe we can
Timing,
get like
maybe.
friends and guests on as well. Then.
Oh yeah. Well, we can figure something out. Anyways, that is all for today. This has been fun. I miss this. We have to start gaming again because we'll eventually get to the end of Rasha's story and.
We are starting again.
I know we are starting again. I'm excited. But excuse me. Thanks for coming and hanging out.
That's pretty much all we got for today, folks.
I know for sure I will be live on Thursday at 6 p.m. doing something. Maybe Minecraft. I don't know. And if you're watching on YouTube, thanks for watching. Like the video.
Yeah, all those things.
Like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitch.
And until then, we shall see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.